Hi fellow readers, today I'm going to be talking about the light novel Chronicles of the Hidden World, How I Became a Doctor for the Gods by Tamaki Otomori and the illustration by Izumi. From the back, a Japanese fantasy of gods and curses. After dying in our world, Yae is reborn into a strange country called Izumo, which resembles ancient Japan, except for the fact that the supernatural is a commonplace. When she is attacked by a terrifying monster called a shade, Yae has no choice but to release Arai, a golden tiger and former god, from his seal. In no time, the bossy tiger has her helping to find his brother Sui, but it turns out that Sui has fallen ill and will soon become a monster himself. Arai, however, thinks Yae is just the person to heal his afflicted sibling. Does Yae really have what it takes to be a doctor to a god? So, just from that, you probably can tell this is, of course, an isekai, but let's forget about the isekai part. We can't really, because it kind of ties into who she is and what happens to ignite the whole thing, but whatever. Yes, it's another isekai. It is more of a shoujo isekai. So our protagonist, she has died, been reborn into this new world, and I can't remember what it is that's like seen as wrong about her. I don't remember if it's like just her coloration, like the way that she looks, but there was something that like set her apart from the other people in this world. But she was about to be sent off, I think, as a bride to this nation that hers was kind of, I don't know if they're fully at war, but there's tension between them. So I think they were trying to make a peace treaty where they sent like 4 of their women to marry 4 of their men or something. Something along those lines. However, the day that she is going to be exchanged, there is a beast creature that comes and attacks them, and like everybody flees and leaves her as bait to be killed so that they can get away, which is horrible. She does manage to get away and is rescued by this tiger who also used to be like her companion. There's a whole thing that happens in the beginning that I'm still sort of confused about. It doesn't matter. It does, like, you can read it and get all the bits, but I'm not going to include all of that here. But there's a whole like tiny backstory that happens before that whole backstory, but that's the impetus for the action in the book. So she's rescued by her tiger friend, whatever, who also just so happens to turn into a young hero prince guy. I'm just thinking, like, I'm really bad at summarizing this. And then they're gonna go and find his brother and do the thing. So they do end up finding, oh, I think that's the other thing, like, they're also swords, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they have sword, animal, people, whole self. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a little while, the brother was trapped in weapon form or something. Is that right? Does anybody remember? And so they have to bring him up and out, and he is a person, but he's ill. So like there's Sui here. He's the brother. Arai is here. And then, of course, our main character here. And there's some other side characters. Here's the thing. So that's the whole story that's happening. I really enjoyed this. And I wasn't really expecting to. Like, I took a look at the covers and I like started it. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. But I like the characters and the character interaction. Like, Arai is kind of one of those typical standoffish, sort of jerky characters, but with a solid, like, good heart that you find yourself, like, really liking and wanting to see that, like, marshmallow fluff inside of as he starts interacting with Yai. On the other side, Sui presents more as, like, that gentle character. And so their personalities, yes, very, like, standard shoujo tropey stylings, and it's just enjoyable to read that. They're standard characters. You like, you know, and you like those personalities, and that's what just kind of sold me. But also, I am intrigued by the world, its magical system, the monsters and creatures that are in it, why the people are sort of animal people, that whole thing. I'm still intrigued by it. I almost would have to do a skim through of this before starting volume 2, so that this was just like volume 1, because I'm trying to remember where it left off. And it seems also that there are, what would I say, like anachronistic pieces that seem to be from our world that show up in this isekai world. And I don't know, I just kind of, I'm interested in continuing this and seeing, like, where it's going. I mean, the romance is one thing. I love a good shoujo. I'm a fan of shoujo, and so this is like shoujo light novel romance with fantasy, so all my favorite things. But there are bits of the plot that I'm intrigued by, and I'm trying to figure out, and I enjoy seeing. And I want to know more, because it's a weird world. And I think that was it from, like, the beginning, where I feel like there's a special name that they call the people who have been isekai'd into this world. I can't remember. But I feel like they know that about her, that she is not of the world, and that's another part of it. And I think that might have been also why she had to do that ritual in the beginning. It's been a while. Beginnings don't always, like, I remember the actions. She was performing this ritual. But I'm trying to remember how much they admitted to us in the beginning, or how much we were just following the actions. But yeah, I feel like they know when the people are from the other world, and there's this whole, like, process that they have to do and go through, and they are, there's a different treatment of those people as opposed to the naturally born people of that world. And again, I think that ties into why she was sort of abandoned and used as bait. I still can't believe they did that. It was horrible. And also kind of funny. Like, just that whole, like, are you kidding me? It's great. It's great. It's great. There are battles in here as well. So it's action, fantasy, and romance all combined into one. But I'm not going to give away, like, the fighting and stuff, because I think that's a main part of the plot. But in general, this is just volume 1, and they're still trying to deal with this curse that seems to be impacting certain beings and how to cure it. I'm trying to remember, because I don't want to give that away. Never mind. I was going to bring up something about Sui, but then I'm like, no. I can't. That's a spoiler. So just know, yes, he's sick, and they have to try to find a way to heal him of whatever's happening, but he's not the only one affected by this. And so kind of like with Sabikui Bisco, where they have to, like, travel and deal with things. It's sort of like that, but with Yai's power. And I can't remember if she's an individual in that sense, or if other people like her, like the isekai people, can do that too. Maybe they haven't said that. Maybe that's not a thing. I cannot remember. So in general, this is, like, just the basic introduction. You meet the main characters, and there's a smaller scale story that's wrapped up within this volume that deals a bit with the curse, but also with Yae, the origins, but then the impetus for the next volumes, which will be more like her traveling with the brothers, them trying to fix this overall problem and battle the monsters. Does that make sense? So I think it's just going to be like serialized fantasy action that's just going to keep going, and of course more romance will be brought in as well. So I'm looking forward to continuing that part. I do think that whole storyline, the whole monster aspect, all of it is intriguing enough to where I want to continue reading it, and I think that other people would enjoy it too. And I think whether you are more into shoujo or regularly like action fantasy, there's enough here to support you and you'd really like it. So I would say give this a read. I really enjoyed it. So darn it, I'm going to keep reading this one. It's funny because I kind of was looking for light novels that I could not continue. But this is one I'm definitely going to be. I am enjoying this thoroughly. And yeah, I don't know. It's not like my favorite, but it's up there. It's pretty good. I'm going to have a good time with this because I love, again, shoujo, fantasy, a little bit of action, all good things in here. Pick it up. That's it for this video. Until next time. Bye.